That's why we as MPS also think about how can EMC become a successful factor for your design and for your project. And that's why we want to support our customers especially with the EMC Lab in Germany and the US and China as well, to get your project to success, and you get a fast time to market as well. For this, we try to help you with trainings to understand roots and the background of EMI. On the one side, on the other side, we will help you and support you in the beginning of your project, by doing pre-tests and evaluation of possible concepts and and additionally, we can support you by a clear, structured EMI, EMC development projects, where we can support by pre-compliance testing from the beginning of your first hardware sample up to the last sample. For this, there's really in the beginning several tasks you can think about and you need to think about. If you look to our power products, to our DC-DC switching regulators, for example, you have several possibilities how to set the switching frequency, but you need to have in your mind as well how this switching frequency affect your EMI behavior as well as which options you have as well, like frequency, spread spectrum, shielding, input filters, and so on. So it means it's really a whole concept what is around all this DC-DC and power stage. For this, we support customers with our evaluation boards to get a first impression of our products and the performance of the products.
So are you, when you're doing that with customers, are you using the MPS evaluation boards and then simulating their application, or how are you helping them out at that early stage?
With our evaluation boards, we try to get to a design with a typical application from customer is. For sure, the possibilities we have with our evaluation boards, the most customers don't have it. But here with the evaluation board, we want to show some solutions, some key factors which are important for good design, definitely. So we starting with our evaluation boards for our investigations and to find root causes of a good or if a bad EMI design. Yes.
So are they doing that typically even before they're doing layout?
Yes. So we try to figure out what are the layout requirements for the customers, and this is the goal of what we're doing there with our evaluation boards.
Yep.
Yeah. So because normally you as a customer has nothing else than this evaluation board in the beginning, to get an impression of it. So, but it's for sure an evaluation board needs to fulfill several requirements. It means on the one side the EMI testing, which is very hard to fulfill, and the other side also the some possibilities and easy handling in case of all the electrical testing and evaluation, efficiency, step response, and so on. So that means at the moment our evaluation boards try to handle all of these topics, which is not easy, definitely. What else do we, based on our evaluation boards and all our experience on this, we try to get really in the first layouts from the customers that we add additional filtering and possibilities for modifications. This is that's why evaluation board helps us in the beginning, because there we can place different capacitors, different inductors. So this is a little bit built up that we can add or delete some components to get to a certain layout or setup, which is in the customer applications. But when the customer is doing his first layout and first design, maybe we think about to have these options as well, to figure out what is needed in the end or what is not needed, for this. If your design or if your layout is don't have these possibilities, then it's really hard in the lab later with your sample to add components or add maybe additional modifications if you have not this possibility in the beginning, and then you really need much more time in the lab as well to realize something like this, like a modification.
So customers that do testing ahead of time using the evaluation products, they at least get some idea of the components and the layout needed. So they at least know where there's going to be some challenges ahead of time. And don't design a layout that is so tight or doesn't have any flexibility, where if you run into problems, you might have to step back and do some redesign.
Exactly.
Does that happen very often? Have you seen that?
It is always a topic. So really, every kind of customer tries to optimize the design from the beginning, but you never know exactly where you get the problems. That's why maybe you need to get this, as you mentioned, you need to go one step back, and maybe do additional loop to understand your design much better.
If someone wants to do that, typically, is that something that they can achieve in a day, a half a day? What's the typical need?
It's typically one day if you have one problem. If you one day is a typically lab time in our lab to analyze the problems.
Yeah.
To be honest, not every time you find a solution after one day. It's depending on the complexity and as well as mentioned, how big is the modification and how difficult are modifications on the board to make. Sometimes you need 1 hour to do a modification, and then quite.
But yeah, again, probably the overall concept that anyone that's done this for a while knows it's much easier to discover this and design these issues out on your evaluation hardware instead of your first actual board that you get, right?
Yes.